Hi, welcome back to this series of the Meeting of Minds podcast called the HSP Connection with me, Philippa Robinson.
And me, Robbie Lee. In this series, we're looking at all things HSP, from our personal experiences of discovering we have the trait, figuring out what we need to thrive, and working in our own businesses as HSP coaches. This series has something for everyone because what's good for HSPs is good for all. If you want to know more about what it means to be an HSP, I suggest you go back to listen to the first episode in the series, episode 90 of the Meeting of the Minds podcast, where we explain all about it. Now, on to today's episode. Philippa, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we thought we were going to talk, and we are going to talk about the strength in sensitivity. I was going to say it the other way around then. The strength in sensitivity.
Yes.
We decided that we thought this was a nice one for where we are in the series, and to talk about after we've talked all about what is an HSP, the gifts of being an HSP, and self-care. I mean, those are really, really important for us to start with. But actually, what we hear from a lot of people who are HSPs is that they have grown up being told, or are just, they have a feeling that to almost say and honor their to say they are sensitive and honor their sensitivity, is a bit of a sign of weakness. And we really want to dispel that, don't we?
Yes, so much.
Yeah. So today is not going to be an episode where Robbie is going to keep us on track with a list, because I need keeping on track. We just want to have a conversation between us about our experience of our strength that we have found in our sensitivity, and perhaps tell you about other things we've heard other HSPs saying, because we do know quite a lot of HSPs between us, or maybe clients have told us. Obviously we won't be telling you any details that will identify any of those clients, but just talking about some things that we feel might be useful.
Absolutely.
So I, funnily enough, is it all right if I start with a little?
Please start, please.
Yeah. So, we're recording this sort of, mid-ish, just past halfway through December. And I have been, just in the last couple of days, in two situations. One was a webinar, one was an Instagram live, where I have heard from different people the common classic sayings that HSPs hear a lot when they are growing up. Things like, you're so sensitive, or why are you crying all the time? The one I heard a lot was, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry for. Or it might be, little Philippa, she's so sensitive, or what was another one I heard? It's gone in my mind and out the other eye. Just something like about, John's a bit of a worrier, isn't he? Or, those sort of things. And, how, the people saying those things, who are usually parents or carers or teachers, I'm sure they're not meaning those sentences to hurt. But those things said to an HSP really, really cut to the core, don't they? Because of our we process things very deeply. We feel things very deeply. And it's that deep processing and feeling things deeply that are making us display whatever behavior it is that the person who is saying the thing to us perhaps doesn't particularly like or doesn't feel comfortable with. But then to be met back with, oh, you're too sensitive, or you're too this, or you're too much. It is, oh, you know, we'll take that away and we'll stew on it, and we'll really feel it. And I think, you know, a lot of young HSPs will have the experience of either not showing their sensitivity, cutting it off, cutting themselves off from it, because of the reaction they're getting.
Yes.
Yeah. And these
Absolutely.
2 examples in these last 2 days have really reminded me that, because it's not really my experience. I mean, it is, in that I was told to stop crying or I'd be given something to cry about, but that more at the time really fed into my experience of trauma, which of course was heightened because of my sensitivity, but I was absolutely not aware of my sensitivity at that time, not conscious of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be reminded of these things and these sayings that I hear so often, you know, still now, it makes me feel it really deeply now on behalf of all those people who are at the receiving end.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What,
And I think about, you know, what often happens when we hear those messages of you're too sensitive, some version of that, then we make it, often we can, I know I did, I made that mean that there's something wrong with me.
yeah.
Right. And as I have kind of grown in my awareness of my gift and ownership of my gift, and really, really, and that's what I consider it. I consider it a gift, my sensitivity. When I hear now, you're too sensitive, I kind of have a rebellious, energetic response to that inside of myself, instead of the like, oh yeah, there's something wrong. Now it's just like, really? Being too sensitive? There's like, you're attacking sensitivity. You're welcome, I'm sensitive. You need me to be sensitive. You need more sensitivity. You're fucking welcome. Like, that's kind of, look around at the world. We could use people who are more sensitive.
Absolutely. We certainly don't
Yeah.
want we certainly don't want people cutting themselves off from their sensitivity, do we?
No, it's so harmful.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is. I love that yeah, you know, yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You are absolutely welcome. Or, you know, thank you for pointing out my sensitivity. Thank you for acknowledging my
Thanks for
sensitivity.
noticing. Thanks for noticing. Yeah.
Yeah. I am sensitive and I love it.
Yes, I really do. And that's not to diminish the experiences of others, because I absolutely have gone through lots of those painful times, you know. And something even more recently, I realized my extended family, like, you know, we don't talk in the language of high sensitivity, but they were definitely like, oh, Robin is sensitive. Like, you know, she's emotional. Like that probably, you know, things really get to her, you know. But what I realized more recently with some things going on in my family is they then equated that to, oh, so she can't handle things.
And
I was like, oh, no. I'm the person you want to send into this situation. Like, I got this. Like, for example, it was my parents are, you know, planning what will happen at the end of their lives and who they want to name for certain things. And my dad was concerned about naming me to make my mom's medical decisions. I'm my mom's only child. And he's like, because you're, you know, And I'm the best person for that, because I will make sure that whatever my mom wants, she will get. I will make sure that happens, because it's so important to me that she gets that. And so it was a little bit of a like twist for me. I didn't realize that some of these things were seen, or how they were seen, as a weakness, I guess.
Yeah.
And my lovely spouse, she was like, oh no, Robin is not. She's like, Robin's a firehouse. No, she won't let anything get in between what mom wants. And my dad's like, oh, okay. So it was interesting to see the perspective. Like,
Yeah. And, absolutely brilliant, story to bring for us, given that we're talking about the strength of sensitivity. And it's, what we want to convey absolutely is that being highly sensitive is absolutely not about being weak.
no.
Or any sign of weakness, because I do think a lot of people still want to hide or not show their sensitivity for fear of being seen as weak, or it is a weakness or a flaw or something to, for people to feel sorry for you about. People do not need to feel sorry for me for my sensitivity. I absolutely love that I am sensitive. I would not have it any other way. And now I am embracing it in a very different way than I have done since I really connected with it. I'm getting quite fierce about it.
Yes.
And I always have been a little bit, people will use different words to describe it, but I've always been a little bit determined and fire. I can be a little bit fiery. I don't have a fierce red hot temper, but I can be a little bit fiery. I'm trying to think what word my husband uses and I can't remember, but it's more about being determined or setting my mind to something or being very clear in how I feel or what my thoughts or feelings are about a situation.
Yes.
There is definitely nothing weak, I suppose, whatever the definition of weak is. And in fact, while you've been talking, I've just looked up the definition of sensitive, which is really interesting. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But equally, that's not to say that anybody who is an HSP who is perhaps much softer than I'm saying I am, we're all, just because we're all HSPs doesn't mean we're the same. Of course, we're not. We're all very different.
Yeah.
It's kind of about what's inside. That's where my, I don't know, fiery, fierce steel rod is, I think.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. My spouse calls it my mama bear side, because like if I feel like there is, like, people are being mistreated, especially people I care about, but honestly, people in general, if I feel there is an inequity, an unfairness, mistreatment, like something just rises up in me and it's like, this is not okay. This is not right. So that's not a weakness. To care for people is not a weakness. To see how things affect other people is not a weakness. To be so connected to the beauty around you that it brings you to tears, that's not a weakness.
It is absolutely not. It's a great gift, isn't it?
Yes.
And the lady I was doing the Instagram live with today, I don't think she expected me to talk about HSP actually. And when she said, oh gosh, yeah, she said, I'm an HSP, but I don't talk about it much. And she said, but I think, and exactly to the point that you've just made, she's a real, she's a real staunch feminist, and she's, quite politically active, and, thinks the way the UK is being run at the moment is absolutely dreadful. I mean, I absolutely agree with her. But, you know, she said that she feels that it's her sensitivity that drives her to be the activist she is, because she cares so much. And
Yes.
that is absolutely why we need to be embracing people's sensitivity and embracing that side of us that makes us want to rise up and say, this is not right. We need, something needs to change.
Yes. Yes. I really feel like that is what will help change the world. That those of us who are seeing those things and then feel like we care, we see it and we care, then yes, we can help make that change. Like we can put a spotlight on it. We can put a voice to it and say, hey, this is not okay. I can't tell you the number of times I was the single person at my former workplaces going, I don't think this is okay. Like what we're doing here is not great. I don't feel good about that. You know, I was like constantly. And because I saw it and I cared.
Yes.
And that's how we make change.
Yeah. Because caring is good, is necessary.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, and I think, you know, in our culture has leaned a lot toward especially in the business world, and that carries over, but it's like, oh no, be logical. Like go into logic and not your feelings.
Yeah.
Somehow we've elevated logic to be the king of everything.
Yeah.
And so showing emotion has been, yeah, put in some negative category. And it's like, man, your emotions give you a lot of really helpful information.
Absolutely. They're showing the way, aren't they?
Yes, yes.
You know, if we're upset about something, or yeah, if we're upset about something, then that's just a really clear message that something's not right. Be it something big on a society level, on a community level, on a family level, on a personal level.
Yes.
You know, I mean, sometimes working out what level it is can be a little bit tricky.
Yes.
You know, especially for people right at the top, you know, the high end of the sensitivity scale, who are feeling everything. And I know you're higher up that end of the scale than I currently am. I'm aware that I am. Let's put it that way, because I think it might change. But you know, so working out whether is what's making me feel like this actually me connecting with the collective feeling about this, or is this actually something that's going on in me? You know, and working those out can be a challenge at times. But even if it's on a societal level where it's not so easy to change, that doesn't mean there's nothing that we can't do.
That's right.
Because I think there is a lot of burying heads in the sand going on, and not wanting to see how much things have changed and how many people are being disadvantaged by the changes that have been made and are still going on. And we need to, I really believe we need to bring back some consciousness into society as a whole.
Yes.
Because all this, every man for himself and sod everybody else, it's just not good for our soul.
It's really not. Like I was about to say, it only serves a few people. And what I would change that to say, I don't think it serves anyone. I think a few people gain power and money out of the system.
Yep.
But even then, I would say I don't think it serves them. That's just my personal opinion. But it certainly, even if you say, okay, well, it does serve a few people, okay, the rest of us are not being served. And that is not a healthy way to run a society. It's not how we would run a family. It's not how, I mean, you know.
No, I yeah, absolutely. We're totally on the same page about this. And I think it's the portrayal that that's what we should all be, you know, that perhaps we should be striving for more of whatever it is that these people have got that keeps perpetuating the way it is now. And like you say, I don't think it does serve them. Maybe they benefit from it, but it doesn't serve them at a spiritual level, if I can use the S word. You know, you know, because it you know, it just doesn't. But I think there are a lot of people who are separated from that side of themselves, so they can not feel it.
Maybe. But yeah.
It's hard to understand, isn't it, actually?
It is. I mean, yes, it's hard to conceptualize.
Yes.
Because my whole experience of the world is connection and looking at how what I do affects someone else and how I can be of help to people and not harm. Not to say I've never harmed and not to say I've never effed up, because of course I'm a human, of course I have, but my heart is always in the place of noticing how I have an effect on people and how can I put good in the world and how can I make it win for everybody instead of me just climbing on the backs of someone else to get somewhere tall. You know, it's like, how can we all win? Because I love it when people win. That's great. And I don't believe that we have to have winners and losers. It's just not in my belief system. I think we can all win. I think we can create things that work for everyone.
Yeah. And the whole concept of winners and losers suggests that everybody would want the same thing if they could have it. Yeah. You know, but only some can have it. So they're the winners, right? And those that don't get it are the losers. But in reality, we don't all want the same thing.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
You know, because we're all different, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all, you know, and yes, you and I are HSPs, but we're still very different people, you know. And I was talking about this today, that, you know, I really believe that we can connect much more with the core of who we are and understand who we really are and let ourselves be who we really are, then, you know, the world is going to be a nicer place.
Yes. I mean, you just hit on one of my core beliefs, 100%, that when people really get in touch with who they are, and I love how you languaged it, and like let themselves be that, right? Yes, it will. This is my lofty, like, it will change the world, and maybe not overnight, but it will have a net positive effect on the world. Absolutely.
Well, there we go. We've both got the same lofty wish, desire for the world. So, you know, maybe this is what we're both going to run with then, hey?
Yes. No wonder we're connected. We have that same core. Yeah.
The HSP connection.
Yes.
Let me just tell you what I think it's the Oxford Dictionary says about the word sensitive. This is actually, I don't know why, I've never looked it up before, but I do love a definition.
Yes.
If it says what I want it to say. And you can usually find something, you know, if you search a few. So there's two options given for the definition of sensitive. One is quick to detect or respond to slight changes, signals, or influences. And the other one is having or displaying a quick and delicate appreciation of others' feelings.
Oh, interesting. A delicate appreciation. Interesting.
Of others' feelings. Now, none of that to me suggests weak.
No, none of it. Read the first one again.
Quick to detect or respond to slight changes, signals, or influences.
I mean, I feel like that could be a really big strength, super helpful in a lot of situations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit blown away. I'm actually a little bit gobsmacked reading these, because there is absolutely nothing written there that makes me think that's not something that I would want to be or have. It's not that it's a gift. I mean, I love having a delicate appreciation of others' feelings. Maybe it's not delicate enough sometimes. Maybe it's a bit too direct. But I mean, so somewhere along the line, sensitive has changed to be something that's not necessarily desired, and perhaps it's whoever it's not desired by, either because they don't have it, or it doesn't suit them to have sensitivity displayed around them, that somehow it's made to appear to be something to keep quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I think one of my beliefs around it is, I think about it in like a workplace, for example, but it could apply to a lot of different situations where, let's say, a leader is trying to make some decisions that will make the company money, for example, but it would harm the people who help them make the money. Well, having a sensitive voice, me in the room, saying, hey, how about we treat the people who helped make this money with the appreciation and care they deserve? That's not a wanted voice in the room at that point, right? When the goal is, hey, we just want to make money for our shareholders, or I want a bigger bonus, whatever the things are. And I'm saying, so in those instances, the way I frame it is, when you're wanting to move away from the direction of your heart.
Oh.
And that's my framing of it. Then no, you don't want to hear the sensitive people in the room. Because you have, in my understanding of things, you would have to be able to shut down that part or not interact with that part to make some of these, in my opinion, cold and harmful decisions.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, because I mean, you mentioned shareholders there, and I'm going to tread into territory that I might get myself a bit mixed up in, but I'm going there anyway. Here in the UK, the Companies Act makes companies put it's a director's duty as a director of a company to maximize profit for the benefit of the shareholders, because the shareholders are the beneficial owners of the company. And that has been used over and over again as the reason why companies put profit before people, before the planet, over and over again. And there's a real movement at the moment here in the UK to change that bit of the Companies Act, so that actually, I don't quite know what wording or what amendments are being hashed out, but it's definitely more along the lines of that it's not just about shareholder dividends, it is about doing what's right, I think, for the planet, but to maybe take other considerations into account. I in my heart, I don't think it goes far enough, but equally, it's better than what we've got at the moment. And to be a voice that is talking about this, and to be talking about this is the direction it certainly needs to be moving in, and yet further, really makes me feel like I'm doing something good.
Yes.
Because it's not okay the way it is at the moment.
It's not okay. And it's not okay. And honestly, it's often those of us with the sensitivities that see it first. Like, we can see it I think most people can see it now, but we can see it long before others. And we can, like, we could help turn the ship before it's so hard to turn the ship. Like, we can see things way down the road and take care of it before it's a bigger problem. Like, it is a helpful thing. If we would want to lean into it as a society, we could build something different. We really could.
Absolutely. And that's why the more of us who raise our voice and who allow our voice to be heard at an earlier stage, you know, we can make things happen. Or it would be good to try and make things happen anyway. I mean, you know, I'd rather try than not, and wonder what might have happened if I did try. And you know, I don't want to spout on about loads of different things that I'm only just know little bits about, but I was on a call yesterday all about highly sensitive children. I was on a webinar yesterday all about highly sensitive children, and you know, there were a lot of people talking there because it was a webinar. It was only people talking in the comments, but talking about school and how, I mean, it was all people in the UK actually, but I can't imagine your school system is that much different, that actually schools do not cater for highly sensitive children. And, you know, how different would it be if highly sensitive children were embraced in their sensitivity at home and at school, and, you know, just letting them thrive from day one. I mean, I know certainly here schools are under-resourced, and you know, there are so many additional needs. Well, I say additional needs, individual needs, I would say it is. So it's anybody who, or any children who don't fit in this very narrow, you know, tunnel, whatever, you know, this very narrow view of what a child is and how it learns and how best to support it. Really narrow view in my mind. And I think there are far more kids who fall out of it than actually fall inside it. But anyway, that's my view. I would think that because both my children fall out of it. But you know, how amazing would it be to be able to embrace the individuality of every child at a young age, so that they then, you know, grow into themselves so much earlier and embrace who they are, and can, you know, take their gifts, be them HSPs or non-HSPs, out into the world. You know, HSPs make great teachers. They make, you know, great coaches. We make great, apparently they were saying they make great lawyers. I don't know about that, but that's my personal, well, I think probably we do make great lawyers, but the ability to change the law is very, like, slim. You know, we make great coaches, we make great counselors, we make great therapists, we make great, we make great we make great employees in companies where we are unable to thrive in our role as an HSP in that role. You know, we can thrive anywhere. In the right environment.
You know, I'm sitting here imagining a world where from a young age, children are acknowledged for who they are celebrated for who they are, where children are taught how to grow into their strengths even more, right? Like what makes them so special and unique. And oh my God, that would benefit so many children, not just HSPs, and including HSP children. Because I agree with you. I think the way that school is set up, it's a very narrow swath of folks that come out of that going, okay, that was all right. I mean, I think about the suicide rate for young people, and God, if we could be helping bolster these systems that help these kids see what is amazing about them. Again, we would be changing the fabric of society. We would be changing how things work.
Yeah. And that's why we're having these conversations, isn't it?
That's right.
Because we just want to, I don't know, we don't, I mean, I don't know about you. I don't really know where this is going, but I do know that I need to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I think it's really important that that it's really, I feel it's really important that I have a place that my voice, to put my voice, and if anybody's, listens to it and wants to come and listen to what I'm saying, and now what I'm saying with you, in conversation with you, it it can only be something good, I think, to raise, just to have this conversation, to raise awareness. And like you say, I mean, gosh, the number of young people who struggle in so many different ways, and a lot of them boil down to not being able to be their true self, I think.
Yes. Not feeling that they can be their true self.
Not feeling accepted, celebrated, wanted.
Not feeling good enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, not good enough, not worthy, are definitely is definitely how I grew up, feeling that I was broken, totally flawed, not good enough, not anywhere near as good as anyone else.
Yes, same. And I think it's like, we take all these messages that are happening on the outside, like, because again, my belief system is we have these series of systems set up that are unhealthy. They are unhealthy for people. But when we're in the system growing up, most of us don't look and go, oh, that system is unhealthy. We go, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm not healthy in the system, so there's something wrong with me. Yeah. And so that's why I get excited to share my voice now, to say, to help people. Like, it's not you, it's the system, right? At least to give that spark of like, maybe you're saying maybe it's not me. Like, right, it isn't. Like, let's help change the things that aren't working, because you're magical and amazing, and you've got something wonderful to share with the world. So let's help you do that.
Oh, yes. Let's help all those people with all that magic bring their magic forth. Because we all have it. Everybody has some magic. It's just, I think a lot of people just never find it.
Yes, because they're trying to.
No, go on. They're trying
to, like, for me, I'll speak for me. I was trying to put myself into the mold of what I thought I was supposed to be, and that mold didn't fit for me. And so then I'm back to what I was saying before. Oh, there's something wrong with me. I can't fit in the mold right.
Yeah. And you talked about the system not working, and part of that system very much for me was always friendships. And I have some wonderful friends that I've been friends with for a long time, but I didn't always feel like I fitted in with them. I mean, I was a great chameleon and I did fit in, and that's not to say I was fake, but I didn't feel it in my heart that I belonged there. I always felt like I was a little bit on the outside, and who actually really wants me around, which is what led me to try and be really useful and things all the time. But anybody who feels like they don't fit in, I would just say, well, maybe they're not the people. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. We can't all fit in with everybody and feel like we belong with everybody. It's about finding a few people, isn't it, where you feel like you belong. And you and I having these conversations is just amazing, and you and I have really bonded over our HSP discovery and wanting to talk about it more. And all the other lovely, wonderful people in our HSP community. I mean, that is such an amazing place to be with other people. And also, I'm not there all the time, like you're not there all the time. It's a wonderful place to come and be with HSPs, and then you know, I spend a lot of my time with non-HSPs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's absolutely wonderful too.
Absolutely.
But I definitely need some HSP time.
Yes, absolutely. It's well, we've talked about it before, but it's a sense of not having to explain things, and you know, you're with people who just get some certain things about you that you won't have to explain, and that just feels great when, you know, that's not what we see in the predominant culture, is people getting us, you know, which again is why we're out here talking about it. Like, we want to bring more awareness and understanding. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure I said it last week, you know, get in touch with us. If any of this is resonating with us, please, with you, please get in touch with us. I mean, you know, I'd love for us to build some community around these podcast episodes. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but I would love, you know, people to get in touch. And if you want to, you know, we can, you know, I'd love to mention your comments in a future episode. If anybody's got any questions, or no, even if it's not just really a question, things you want to say, please send them to us. There will be links in the show notes for you to get in touch. I just really love to bring more voices, more, even, you know, snippets from people into these episodes. It would be, absolutely, I think that would be really important.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? So please do. I think that might be me done for today. What do you think? Have you got anything that you'd like to say?
I was going to say, I had no idea I was going to, you know, talk politics today and social structures, but there we go. Like, that's what came out. And yeah, I just echo what you said. Please, to the people out there listening, if we can at all be of service, please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I didn't expect to come on and start talking about those things either. But also that's part of the strength that we would start, you know, that this episode has been about, that we feel a lot of these things really deeply. So I'm afraid it comes out.
That's right. That's
Actually,
right.
I'm not afraid. I'm just saying it comes out when it needs to, and it has an opportunity. It comes out. Okay, I think that's us done for this week. Thank you for listening and watching, everybody. Send us those questions and comments. We'd love them. And we'll be back next week with another episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeting of Minds podcast. You can find this podcast in all the usual places. Please tell your friends. Please subscribe. And if you have a moment, I'd be really grateful if you could rate and review, as it helps other people find us and helps me spread the messages of empowerment and positivity that I'm really passionate about. If you want to find out more about me, you can visit my website, www.safeandsupported.co.uk. Until next time, bye.